Jayne Ludlow, good morning. Thank you so much for joining the Kickback and Talk Sport today. How are you, first of all?
Yeah, morning. I'm really good, thanks. Obviously, Euros are underway, lots of women's football on, so I'm a very happy bunny right now.
And tell me about where you are right now.
So I'm up in the University of South Wales. I'm just sitting on one of the pitches actually outside. Obviously, the University of South Wales, for people who don't know, is actually the biggest coaching university in the UK. And we have a big performance environment here. So there's a huge connection with the FAW and the Welsh girls in particular.
And am I right, you're there with the National Lottery today, who are putting a lot of money behind grassroots football?
Oh yeah, huge. Look, great opportunity for me today to be back around the grassroots game. But like you mentioned there, the National Lottery has had a huge influence on us in Wales. I mean, there's the amount of funding that have been supporting the infrastructure here in particular, because as people will know, we've followed the Welsh women's journey. That was a big issue for us many years ago. But to have that funding to support the FAW, which has also enabled the player pathway from a girl's perspective to keep growing and linked to the elite side, it's been huge. So the support we've had from the National Lottery over numerous years has been phenomenal.
As you just mentioned there, it's been a little bit of a journey to get to where you are today for football, for girls in Wales, and you've been a huge part of that journey. How incredible is it now seeing that Wales has made its first major tournament?
Oh, yeah, it's huge. It's great. I'm going to haven't been well. I've had a smile on my face since it happened, obviously at the end of last year. But no, it's been great to watch their progress. Obviously, I've been involved in the system since I was 15 years of age, and of many other players along the way who've played a part in it. So for us, I think we just can't wait to see the team get on the pitch and compete and perform. And yeah, we're going to enjoy the process. Irrelevant if they win 3 games or if they lose 3 games, it's not really important for us. It's more a case of actually shining a light on the opportunities for young girls now to actually get into a game, have fun, make friends. If they do want to pursue a professional career, there's that option, which, for the generation that I am was far more difficult. But I think if you look at the landscape of grassroots sport, obviously it's helped over, I think, 30 years the National Lottery has been funding in. I think 6 billion they've put into grassroots sports. So, women's football, girls football has definitely benefited from that. And 6 billion is a lot of money. But I sit here and I go, there's still a lot to do, because there's so much growth potential for girls within the football environment. So it's an exciting arena.
Absolutely. Like you said, there's still so much to do, and I think Wales being at the Euros this year will have a huge impact on that, because girls will be able to see themselves, maybe some of them for the first time, on the international stage. And it really is that saying, isn't it, of you've got to be able to see it, to believe it, to be able to then pursue it and do it yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a program made a few weeks ago of the current national team players and talking about their journey. And, most of those players have spoken about idols they had and their men in the game, because that's all actually we could look up to and respect, because that's all we could see. And obviously now, I have a 9-year-old little girl who her world's very different. She's turning the TV on. She sees female athletes performing in front of her. She sees a lot more women in the sporting arena. So yeah, for the future, for the next generation, I'm just excited for them, that the opportunities that could arise.
And speaking of some of the role models, who would you pick out of that Wales team? Who are the ones that we should be looking out for at this tournament?
There's so many. Obviously, there's Jess Fishlock, who's our standout performer, and Jess has been for nearly 20 years now, I think. And the profile she has in the game is immense. But she's the older age group of player there. But in between, you've got the likes of Sophie Ingle, who've played for Chelsea for many years, been at the top level, playing Champions League. She's back fit now, which is great for us. But then you've got the players who might be less well known, but not necessarily in Wales, but outside of Wales. Anne Harrod-James, who's been playing at the top level since she was about 15, and she's a huge player for us, and obviously captain now as well. So big responsibility for her. But I could go through the whole squad, because obviously I know them personally. I've coached them, know their characters, and I think I sit here as a bit of a proud mum in many ways, just really pleased that they've got to where they've been trying to get to for so many years?
I think you are right. There's so many characters in that team and so many role models. I mean, we've spoken to a few since they qualified and since they've been out there, and hearing Liv Clark's story about she was made redundant from Coventry. She used to work in McDonald's. Now she's Wales goalkeeper. I was listening to Saf speak yesterday as well about coping with autism and playing football, and it's just. Is that what kind of gives this team that drive and that kind of unique firepower to go and maybe prove some people wrong at this tournament as well?
Look, first and foremost, and I think this was mentioned in one of the programs the girls have done recently, they're friends. They've built a connection over multiple years, many of them. Even the players you've just mentioned. Liv has been in the system with us a long time. I remember John Horton identifying her talent. He was our goalkeeper coach, and well, John actually identified all the talent that is now in the senior team, and he started working with them at a very young age. And that was the reality for us. We were looking for really talented young kids, and even if they were 14 or 15, they were being drawn into the performance system because we knew they had very little support outside that. And the thing we've always prioritized, and I'm sure they still do in the FAW, was that just the support staff around those kids at the time, to make sure that path is a good path for them and it's a really supported one. So yes, it's lovely to see Liv now fulfilling her ambitions and progressing as a top level goalkeeper. And she does stand out as she's going to be a key player in this tournament for us because she's going to have a lot to do. So reality, we're coming up against some of the best teams in the world, which I know the players are going to really enjoy. But the reality check is we might not have as much of the ball as we would have liked, But no, she's going to be a key player, and she's shown over the last campaign that when she's needed, she performs really well for us.
And it's going to be a tough group, isn't it? What are the girls going to have to do to secure some wins in there?
We have a few mantras, It's very much team is together stronger. It's very much like sisters on the pitch. They're very much friends and they work hard for each other, but they're talented individuals as too. We're always saying, well, as Welsh people, dragon on our chest, etc. If you look at our flag, we're the only one with that on it. But that is part of our culture and our personality. We are hardworking people. We're not, a lot of the girls are coming from working class Welsh valleys environments, etc. And it's just ingrained in you. And that's no different when they're in the changing room about to step on the pitch. They're prepared to go and do what they need to do. And usually that's work really, really hard for each other. So there's very much that togetherness, that spirit, the connection. And they'll know they have to perform as a team to get the results they want. This isn't going to be about one or two players shining. This is going to be everybody coming together and doing the jobs they need to do.
And you've played for Wales. You've also managed at Wales as well. Before those games or at halftime, what would it be that you would be saying to those players in that dressing room to make sure that they go out and they perform the best that they can?
To be honest, it was different for every game. It was always about what have we prepared for, what are we expecting to come up against, and each team they come up against now in the tournament will give them a different challenge. And they would have done a lot of work in the background. I mean, when you get into game day, it's just making sure people are physically and mentally ready to go. It's not about the tactical nuances then. They should know everything they need to know. It's more a case of let's go and enjoy ourselves. Let's step on the pitch, work hard, but do it with a smile on our face.
And Wales have been billed as the underdogs going into this. And I spoke to Hannah Kane a couple weeks ago, I think, and I put that to her, and she was kind of like, it's not how we feel within the camp, and kind of whatever's going on outside of camp is not really something that we care about that much. Is that outside noise kind of something that they will have to block out throughout this tournament, because it is historic that they've made it, and that is something that can't be taken away from them and that they should enjoy. And no matter what the outcome, as you kind of said earlier, they've made history and they will be impacting so many women and girls across the country just by playing football on that international stage.
Yeah, I think, from a player perspective, you've got a big chunk of those players have had a lot of adversity trying to come through the system, being Welsh national team players. And they're just used to that noise on the outside, and people not necessarily wanting to support them, which probably made them even stronger as a unit internally. It's very much about us and what we need to do, and supporting each other through that. We are the obvious underdogs. We're the lowest ranked team there. We're the ones that it's the first big competition we've ever been in. The expectation is low from people, not necessarily people in the country, because my daughter's thinking they're going to go and win it. So as kids, they just see Welsh national team, big tournament. They haven't played their first game yet. They're going to go out and win every game, and that's kind of what you want. But this for us, I think, as a nation, is far bigger than just the 3 games or potentially more games they get in the tournament. It's more about how do we connect with the nation to encourage those young girls to take up playing. Now, yes, ideally football, but just take up sport. And understand from what they should be seeing in those role models. It's not just what they do on the pitch, it's how they connect with people. It's that friendship group they have, it's the support they have. It's kind of like the whole package of sport has enabled them to do so many things in life. So yeah, we just hope that we grip a nation and people just get on board with female sport and just keep supporting it and progress that support.
And sometimes being the underdog, that can kind of be like your secret weapon, right? Because we just saw Arsenal win the Champions League against Barcelona. Nobody thought they were going to do that. You were part of the Arsenal squad that won back in 2007 as well. Again, maybe the underdog side there as well. Can sometimes that be like just that little bit of magic that you need, your secret weapon almost?
Yeah, to be fair, I think back to 2007, we were the semi-professional stroke amateur team that were coming up against a fully professional team with a superstar in Marta playing on the pitch. So nobody expected us to win that game, or those games. And similar now, like you said, with the Arsenal team in this season, that nobody expected them to do that, and it was absolutely fantastic to see them do it again. But with Wales, yeah, look, I think we kind of we expect that underdog tag. It's not something the girls will necessarily talk a lot about, because they'll just get head down, what's the job I need to do and how do I support you to do your job. But I think the wider world, there's the reality check, isn't there? There's always going to be the person or the team who isn't expected to win, and that's definitely us right now. But I think we can play on that. I think there's a lot more pressure on other teams. If you look at the other 3 big teams, one of them's going to lose out at least. Maybe 2 of them, if we get a little bit of luck. So there's a lot more pressure on those 3 teams than us.
100%. And I just wanted to pick up and go back firstly about kind of what you said about this whole campaign is just, the campaign of the girls over there and the campaign that you're kind of working on as well. Just kind of encouraging women and girls to get into sport in whatever kind of capacity that is. And I think that's something that's really going to come from this tournament as well. It's really important. You don't have to be the next best player. Just get on the pitch. I can't play. I love football. I love watching football. I can't play to save my life. My hand-eye coordination, terrible. But it really gives you that, like, that sense of community. It's the social element, you make friends, you can be part of a team, you learn some really valuable life skills even, and that's going to be kind of a really important message, right, coming out of this tournament.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge one for us. In Wales, we do lack probably the infrastructure of other countries in a sense of sporting facilities, but that doesn't mean our kids can't go out and play in the streets and play in the park, etc. But it's just encouraging that. But I definitely think if young girls are watching the TV and they see somebody they could be, it's a very different environment then. And they have some great role models. If you think of the people in the team and their lives outside the game and the way they impact society, I think there's some great role models to learn from there for the girls as well. But you're right. Look, we're going to be the team who hopefully are perceived as a group of friends stepping on the pitch and having fun. And you kind of want that to go wider in the country. Get your friends together, get on a pitch, have some fun. It doesn't matter if you're as good as Jess Fishlock or not, or or you can tackle like Sophie Ingle, etc. It doesn't really matter. Just get out there, have a good time, enjoy it, have some exercise, which is going to make you feel great as well. And I think in society these days, and a lot is said about mental health, I think sport can play a huge part in that. not just because of the physical activity your body ends up doing, but the connections you make. And if it's team sport, then even better because of those connections and friendships for life.
100%. I couldn't agree more with you. Before I let you go, who are your favourites to win the whole thing? What's your prediction?
Do you know what? There's probably 3 teams I'd probably say right now have a really good chance. Spain are the obvious ones, even more so after they've done so well in their first game against Portugal. England, I think, are just obviously. I think Spain would meet England before the final, wouldn't they? So, and then Germany. They're 3 for me. But you always find in tournaments there's somebody that's not expected to do well that progresses, and maybe that's us. You never know. Maybe.
I've got a good feeling. I've got a good feeling, and it would be. I think it's just incredible to see Wales get out of that group and go as far as they possibly can.
Yeah. No, I agree. It'd be nice, but reality check. I just love the fact that the girls are having an opportunity to get out there and compete.
100%. And either way, it's a historic moment. And even if they do go out of the group stages, it's just a kind of an opportunity to then build on that. The next tournament, build on it again. And, who knows where you'll be in 10 years' time.
Yeah, and look, you mentioned the Champions League a few moments ago. I think for us back then in 2007, it was a case of, right, how do we inspire the next generation? And when we think back, Leah Williamson was our mascot. She was in the academy with us at the time. And that's kind of the example. It's like, right, who's going to come through now because of what Wales are doing currently and how they're being seen across the world? So, hopefully more than one will suddenly pick up a football and start kicking it around.
100%. And on that note, I will let you get back to your day. But thank you so much, Jayne, for joining me. Really loved speaking to you today.
No worries.
We've got everything crossed for Wales this summer.
Thank you very much, Bo. Have a good day.